In this A Lap in Time series, I plan to look at not just the biggest, longest, most well-known circuits, but also some lesser seen ones in PC racing games. Pau, or Pau if you don't speak French, is the first track in this mini comparison, as it's only been in 3 PC titles so far. It's essentially like a tighter version of Monaco or Macau, but set in a French town. The Pau event began in 1901 on a much longer track, which saw the first use of the title Grand Prix. The town circuit has been used since 1933, with the layout in this video being used since 1934. As before, we'll do a lap switching between games, then compare specific locations around the track, and finally put all 3 games head to head at the same time. So let's get going on A Lap in Time, Pau. We start the lap with Spirit of Speed 1937, from Broadsword Interactive and published by Microprose in 1999. This is a handcrafted version of the track. It's probably a little bit shorter than the real life track because here we are in a heavy 1930s Grand Prix car, and yet the lap time is about the same as a modern single-seater in the games that are coming up. Texture work here is very nice given the age of the game, but compared to what's coming up you'll see that this is quite basic. Here's Race 07, this is actually the 2008 version of the track from Race On add-on, which adds a little bit more scenery around the edges. It's a good version of the track, but the graphics based on R-Factor are a little bit basic. This is from Simbin Studios, who later on would dissolve and form into various other companies, one of which was Sector 3 Studios, now known as KW Studios, who make Race Room Racing Experience, which we are now looking at. This version of the track came out in 2024, which is ironic because they're not actually running a real-life race at Pau in 2024, and it's a extremely authentic version of the circuit, as we'll see in a minute when we look at some comparisons of locations around the track. And here we are completing the lap of this track. You'll notice the big grandstand on the left no longer exists in the latest version of the track. Let's compare some locations around the track to see how each game looks. As there are so few games with this track, we'll compare a few more locations instead. So let's get started. The real life shot here comes from a 2015 Formula E exhibition, and this is approaching Virage de la Gare, or Station Bend. Spirit of Speed has the corner, but the scenery is pretty basic here and not got a lot to see. Race 07 has more scenery here, but the trees are a little bit forwards of the track and they're blocking the view. Race Room Racing Experience is pretty much spot on to real life, which will become a theme. Here we are on Avenue Napoléon Bonaparte, going up the hill with the giant archway on the left, which is a classic view of the track. Spirit of Speed has all these elements in place, but it's lacking some of the palm trees on the left that are a feature of this track. Race 07 has the palm trees, but it also has a lot of flags and a lot of things that are sort of blocking the view, a bit more than real life. And Race Room Racing Experience is a good balance here. There is a gap in the trees, but there is in real life as well. Here we are at Courbe du Casino, further up around the track. I picked this one just to show the trees and how they look in each game. Spirit of Speed has some trees, but you can see they're quite a generic texture and they're not very full. You can see the distance. Race 07, all the trees look almost the same shade. There's no real depth to it. And some palm trees here, which there are some that they're a bit further back. Whilst Race Room Racing Experience looks pretty much bang on to real life. This is Courbe du Parc Beaumont, and there's a hotel on the left and the church in the distance. On Spirit of Speed, the church has been maximised and made really big. The building on the left is actually further back, so this whole corner is a little bit compressed. Race 07 has the elements, but the church is too far to the left and the hotel's too near to the camera. Whilst Race Room Racing Experience again looks almost spot on to real life here. This is Virage du Buisson, or Bush Bend. You can see the wall on the left here. Now let's see how each of the games tackles this. Spirit of Speed has a very generic texture here. There are some greenery on it, but it looks almost like a prison or something. It's quite bland. Race 07 has a bit more detail here, but again the flat coloured of the trees make it look a little bit boring. And Race Room Racing Experience again looks really true to real life, especially the trees in the distance. This is Chicane du Croisement, or Crossing Chicane. Notice the little curb here that they add in the road for the cars to skip over. Spirit of Speed doesn't have that curb. It doesn't quite have the shape of the corner right either. whilst Race 07 has all the elements and looks pretty good. There's not quite as many trees as in real life. And Race from Racing Experience is once again almost real, basically. Here is the start-finish straight, Avenue Gaston Lacoste, and I've picked this pinkish house on the right just to see how it looks in the games. Spirit of Speed has this house, but it uses the same model in several places around the track, so you'll be seeing it quite a few times. Race 07 has a few palm trees here, which aren't really present in real life, but it has the house. And Race from Racing Experience has everything pretty much spot on. You notice that the bridge up ahead's missing though. Let's now put all 3 games head to head over one lap of the track. And that completes our lap of Pau. I hope you enjoyed it. Did you play any of these games? What track should I cover next? If you like, subscribe and ring the bell, you won't miss out on the next edition of A Lap in Time.